What's up, guys? So I was at the beach today, and I was continuing to think about Leo Nogueira and him failing the test for a banned substance after a BJJ tournament. It led me to a few questions that I had after listening again to the podcast, the Grappling Central podcast. I'll leave that. I'll leave the link that it's in down below. I actually saw this in BJJ Eastern Europe. So there was an interview in this podcast, the Grappling Central podcast, with Leo Nogueira and also his trainer named Jason Colleran, and I believe they're both in the Atlanta, Georgia area. Anyways, first question that I had for Leo, and I think this would help clear things up and help clear his name as best as possible. If he truly unknowingly failed this if he was taking a banned substance. And he and his trainer were blaming it on the supplement industry, which is possible, sure. It's no doubt about it. As I talked about in previous videos, the supplement industry is shady as fuck, big time. I mean, there's a lot of shady business going on, and including spiked supplements. Like they're claiming that something he was taking was spiked, so therefore he ended up unknowingly failing the drug test. So here's the thing: if you know which supplement you're taking that tripped the test, would you please let us know which supplement that was? And if you do not know which supplement, say you're taking several at that time, it tripped off this test, will you please release all the supplements you were taking leading up to that tournament? And I think it's a fair question to ask. I mean, I think it's good for people in our sport to know what not to take, and not just our sport, but other sports as well. And plus, if you failed a drug test, I mean, why are you remaining loyal to some company that essentially fucked you? Okay, there's no reason to. You might as well just put it all out there. And hey, you know what? And also let the supplement companies put it out there. So if you truly don't know, just here's the list of all the things I was taking. Here, one of those made me fail. If that's truly the case, why don't you do that? And to my knowledge, it hasn't been done as of yet. And and it seems like Leo really put stock into what his trainer Jason says and recommends. So Jason, if you happen to see this, and if you're a trainer worth anything, and you obviously have record of what you recommended Leo to take, so please, one of you two, release it. I mean, ultimately it comes down to Leo. You can do what you want. So, but those are my first couple of questions. The other thing that seemed really odd to me is Leo. Just a question for you: why do you continue to have a relationship with your trainer Jason Colleran? Okay. I mean, I know a lot of times that athletes and trainers do become friends and so forth, but it is still a business relationship. And just to kind of use a similar example, sort of a similar example, not everyone has time to know everything to do in their life, right? For instance, as far as to me to be able to know my finances and those type things, I have so much else going on between my regular job, things I do outside of work, my BJJ, even this channel takes away from the time, so I don't have time to dedicate enough to my finances as I would like. So what do? I hire a financial advisor to help me, as they are an expert in the matter. And a few years back, during the time when the economy was really booming, and I remember at the end of the year, like the economy itself, or the market itself, was up in I think it was like 15%. And at the end of that same year, after dealing with one financial advisor, I was only up like 9–10% total. So, this person I think is a real nice person. Really just cool. I mean, I think we had a decent relationship even just outside talking finances. But I was basically saying, listen, the market is, if I didn't do anything, just put all my stock in the market without knowing anything, I would have been up higher than if I listened to you. Even though I'm up for the year, I'm still not up as I was anticipating. So what do I do in that case? I fired him. I pretty much just said, thank you very much. I'm going to go elsewhere. I was expecting better results. In the same respect, you put your trust into this trainer, Jason Colleran. and he obviously did things, not just recommend exercises, but in the podcast he definitely he indicated that he recommends supplements, stuff like that. He also said he has a supplement company. So if this person is, you trusted him, you paid him money, and you put your trust in him to lead you best. So if you truly did not know what you were taking, and you just listened to him and didn't know you were taking a banned substance, why are you still associating yourself with him? It doesn't make any sense. I basically I would have said, no, listen, why not? You're not being disloyal to him. If he fucks, like, listen, I listened to this guy, I trusted him, and he fucked me. Now I'm banned from the sport for 2 fucking years because I listened to this asshole. That's what you should be like, and you would be rightly outraged and be able to do that. So I'm curious as to, why haven't you done something similar if this person is responsible for giving you the advice to have you fail the drug test. During the podcast also, they threw out a lot of stuff in there that is kind of, it's one of those things, yeah, they can be telling the truth, but it also sounds like it could be misleading as well. And one of the things they kept on harping back to is like, oh, Leo looked like shit during that tournament. Here's a picture of him. You can see his gut, and he looked like garbage, blah, blah, blah. So how could he be using steroids if he looked like garbage? Looked terrible, and he was injured. So if we really wanted to remedy him and get him up to speed, why would we worry about steroids or whatever, or PED, whatever type of PEDs, and just work on getting him healed from the injuries, like a torn meniscus and whatever ligament damage he had? Here's the thing. I've known quite a few people that only use steroids when they were injured. And it's not just like injury to a muscle either. Here's what happens when you're injured. Obviously, things aren't going well. Injuries are way up here. It sucks, right? So what do you try and do? You try and mitigate the damage that's done to your body and try and promote other more positive aspects. So what you can do, and what I've known people to do, so that's when they take steroids. So the injuries are still there, but now their strength is going to come up, and it's going to help just kind of level off the disadvantage that they have because of the injuries. So actually, it's one of those things. It makes sense if you don't know better, I guess, and been exposed to that. I'm not saying people are naive. I had to be exposed to that to learn it as well. But some people I've known only, it's like, okay, I don't feel like I'm cheating if I'm taking any type of steroid or PED when I'm injured. I just want to get healed. I'm using it as medicine to heal myself. So, or something to make me be able to compete, or because if I didn't do this, I wouldn't be able to compete. Because it's one of those things. The stronger you are, the less tension, for instance, it puts on your ligaments because your muscles are now handling some of the weight and those type things. Where in the past, there's more stress on the ligaments. So stronger muscles takes that stress off ligaments and those type things. So so it's not, yeah, you may have looked like shit too, but it doesn't mean you're not taking something. Something I made reference to in a previous video, Lance Armstrong. I never thought he was honestly. I mean, he could have been doing something, but I was pretty surprised when I heard how much stuff he was taking. He was taking an ungodly amount. But I mean, you look at him. There's plenty of people. When I go up and down the beach on the weekends, I see people that look just as fit as Lance Armstrong. They're probably not steroid users, so a lot of time appearance doesn't give the whole story if someone's taking a banned substance or not. Another thing the trainer was saying, he's talking about coffee. He's like, oh, people fail drug tests from taking too much coffee and stuff like that. Listen, man, I've never heard that. I don't think any drug test is going to be tripped off if someone has a cup or 2 coffee that day of their event in anything. I've never heard of that. I mean, maybe there is, who knows, but I've never heard that. I think if they take your urine sample, whatever they probably took for this PED test that he failed, excuse me, I have a feeling that if they find massive amounts of caffeine in there, where you're using it to get maybe a cocaine effect, because all stimulants are pretty much related. It's just how much you take. You could take enough coffee, eventually you can you can drink enough coffee and eventually get a cocaine effect. And or conversely too, you can take a little bit of cocaine and get a coffee effect. It's kind of way out stimulants are, I wouldn't say all in the same, but the potency is obviously different. But So unless you take massive amounts, I don't imagine it's going to trip off any drug test. I think, you know, I think all of them are seem to, it's like, oh, okay, well, there's a little caffeine in the system, but so he probably had, you know, a cup of coffee over breakfast or something like that, but nothing to really give him a inherent advantage in this competition. So I don't know, guys. Those are some questions. I think it's reasonable that we ask and get out there. Let's face it, the questions being asked in the podcast, they weren't exactly tough. The person that hosted the podcast, it was a friendly environment for Leo since they are friends, and the podcast, the host made that clear. He's upfront and everything, so you know, I definitely appreciate that. But you know, hey, listen, this is something, Leo. You can by opening up and giving as much information, if you didn't do anything wrong that you know of, I mean, just opening up can help clear your name. You mentioned that you eventually have a goal of opening a school and so forth. I mean, dude, let's face it, man. If you don't clear your name, your reputation is gonna be shit. And I mean, people are gonna do the old hit the Google before joining your school in the future that you hope to open, and you know, they're gonna see that, you know, see about this, and unless you do something to help clear your name, that's, I mean, I don't imagine eventually it's going to be succeeding. I don't imagine, I can't imagine like parents and stuff like that, you know, sending their kids to someone that's been, you know, someone that got banned for the sport for 2 years, right? You know, so if you truly didn't do anything, you know, get the information out there and you know, help us and to know, because you know, I think it's only good for all of us to know if there are substances out there we should be avoiding. Excuse me, supplements out there that we should be avoiding. So, guys, anyways, that's it. Thanks for watching, and as always, if you have yet to subscribe to my channel, please do. Talk to you soon. Ooosss.